To me, branding is about uniqueness. You can still be not as unique, but like I said, it's much harder to prove yourself when you're not doing something which you really love. And when you love doing something, you become good at it anyways. Um, I tend to take this picture of this dude here, 10, 12 APs, super impressive grades, 3.8, 3.9, common extracurricular activities means, they're doing piano, they're doing taekwondo, they're doing model UN, they're also doing debate. And this poor dude is tired like heck. Every day, every week, he gets helicopter parented all around. All his essays talk about leadership and how he took initiative, and he went in a particular nursing home and he was helping the old and stuff. It's boring at times, okay? The recommendation letters he gets from his teachers are, he's a good student, he's attentive, his grades are good, he does good homeworks, but it lacks, to me, the oomph. Oomph is missing. Everybody almost who I meet who comes for my coaching has some of those things in play, or even if they don't have it, somehow I'll make sure they get some of that. But the goal is know your competition and go with an X factor, something which is a little unique, which makes you stand apart. Your brand should not be boring. Your brand does not have to be that you did robotics, FTC, FLL, and a robot broke down and you put it all together in the last few hours. Those stories, everybody's heard those stories. Or the athlete who talks about his foot injury and how he came back over 6 months, or that one trip to Mozambique where you learned about poverty and you built some homes. You just got to have quality. Few extracurriculars, 4 or 5 extracurriculars, but really meaningful ones which are important, truly important to you. Relevance to the audience. The people who are reading your application are typically from a humanities background, and they want to hear some stories. Everybody wants to hear stories anyways, but those people have a lot more requirements or a lot more expectations of a hero's journey, or they have empathetic expectations. They might not look for a Marvel story being made, but they are looking for a vulnerability. They're looking for some humanity, the humane side of a person. Consistency, showing you've been with something for a while, 2 to 3 years with something, whatever you're working on is a good thing, but just doing it for 1 year and expecting a personal essay to showcase that as your brand is kind of not very genuine. And just be authentic to yourself.
Jump in on your comments about the background of the admissions officer. Sometimes it's important to think about making their job easier. They are not going to have the bandwidth or the time to sit and remember your statistics. They're going to know if you hit the bar, or they're going to know if you didn't make the mark. But beyond that, they need a couple of stories to hold on to, or an impression of you, and they will remember how your stories made them feel. If the story made them feel boring or made them feel bored, they're going to think you're boring, which might not always be fair, but that's just what they're working with. So when you are thinking about your stories and what touches you, that will come through in your writing. Sometimes that might be like really beautiful relationships that you have with your friends, and how meeting new people taught you something or showed you when you were wrong sometime, because then they're going to get an impression of you as someone who's mature and who can self-correct and listen to other people. So the narrative is not always the hero's journey might not be the traditional narrative that you're expecting. What really matters is that you show a level of specific growth that really only happened to you, not a story that someone else can copy and paste and put into their own essays. Like, it should be personal enough to where it only makes sense coming from you.